Okay, kids, I am cleaning the surface of the heads, so I've given it a good solvent carb cleaner bath, and I have sanded it with some 220 grit with a flat block, and I just finished going over it with some 320. Yeah, 320's up there. Anyway, so let us check. We're going to use a 2/1000 feeler gauge. I don't know if you can read that or not. There, 2.002 thousandths. And so we just have a nice straight edge here. This here bottom edge has been sanded flat with a true 90-degree angle sanding block, so we know it is true and flat. And we check all along here. And we know that our clearance is less than 2/1000, which is really good. Really good. Okay, now check the center. Okay, so that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, that should make almost any decent mechanic feel frisky, so to speak. Okay, let's see if I can get the straight edge on this way here. Okay, it just isn't going to help me. Alright, let's try this. Okay, and it doesn't even go, doesn't even do anything, so I'm happy with it. That holds it at 90 there. Okay. So it is pretty much looking very good. The only thing I do want to do now is get some 400 grit. Yeah, this is extremely flat. And so remember, the main places you want to check too are where the gasket is going to be. So around the water jacket holes, you want to make sure those are nice and flat. Okay, so this is done. Now I need to find some 400 grit to finish the polishing, but you can see that it is very nicely polished. Hopefully we're getting a focus on that. But that is 320 grit right now. Very, very smooth, very fine lines. But we're going to go a step more. Okay, I am going over the last pass with some 400 grit. And a nice flat piece of 1x4. A little bit hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time. Okay, so you see here that is very fine. Let me put some more light on there. So very fine. You can see these are 400 grit sandpaper marks, which is like almost nothing. 400 grit sandpaper gives you a roughness average of 0.23. But I think I do have something that I can use to bring that down even finer still, so give me a minute. This head is ready, so I am just putting a little coat of oil over the freshly sanded surface to keep it from oxidizing. It's aluminum. Freshly exposed aluminum does want to oxidize, and whether or not it makes a big difference, I don't know, but I've got a bit of PB Blaster on there, just a thin coat of oil, and that will keep it fresh while I work on a couple of other things. Right now I'm going to port match the headers a little bit, make sure those are good, and then do the top of the cylinder head, and we'll be ready to install them. Install the head. All right. As you can see, the heads are nice and clean. I've got that rough down to just nice and smooth. And what's really nice is the heads will go down into on top of the block with the headers on. So that will make things a bit nicer. So I just still have a couple of things I need to do here. Got to sand off the top of the block deck, both sides, and the heads are all nice, polished, and just looking gorgeous. And the feeler gauge, a 2000s gauge, will not slip under the straight edge. so they are perfectly flat. Everything is looking good to go, better than Boeing's space capsule, that's for sure. Still got to pop on, you see in the middle there, that oil pump, a high volume version of that. Very important on these engines to get good oiling. And as you can see, I've got all of my new air conditioning components in. Cleaned out the evaporator and the condenser. So everything is all systems are green for assembly, that is. But yeah, just a few more days of messing around, and then I should be good to go, back together. It's been a long time, but had to round up a bunch of parts, figure out a few things that I wanted to get done. One of the things is this here coolant crossover. There's one of these on the back of each head, and those will eliminate the known hot spots, which are cylinder 4 and on the other side cylinder 8. So we get some good coolant flow going through there, and that will make a happier engine. Okay, I have to run and get some parts. I need to get a new torque wrench. Somehow my old torque wrench seems to be broken, and I'm not sure how that happened, but nonetheless, yeah, the only other thing I have to do is I need to port this and this exhaust a little bit, 1/8 of an inch on the forward half, 1/8 of an inch on the forward, and I'll call it a crescent actually, and then these two here line up perfect, so we are good to go. All right. Okay, we are going to send the right block deck surface here. Of course, that is a crap ass angle. Okay, and here's how we're going to do it. Got a 12-inch piece of flat 1x4 fur, and we're just going to sand the top of the block. And of course that's not going to help us. Make full complete strokes across the top of the block. And we're going to try and hit the camera every time. Okay, so looks like we have a little bit of a low here. And I'll get my straight edge on that here pretty quick. I'll have to climb back out to get that. We want to do full swipes across the top of the block. What we got going on here? So everything's actually looking pretty good. Got something going on here. Let's see, it looks like there's a piece of the block got crunched or something. Same up here. And this right here seems to be the only low spot. You see that darkening here. So I'll make a few more passes with the sandpaper. Funny, I don't like the way these castings are broken out in here. I don't know if that's a factory thing or something else, but there's several things that kind of indicate not perfectly flat. It's not bad. So we are using 100 grit. Let me switch to the 150. Okay, let me go grab my straight edge and feeler gauge. Okay, we are measuring the flatness. Got this socket to hold my straight edge square. Okay. Okay, it looks like we are pretty much flat, within 2 thousandths on that side. I'm just going to take a quick look on this side here before we do any work to it. Okay, let us proceed with 220 grit. Okay, let's get our 320. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go to 400. Okay, these are looking beautiful. Okay, guys. So you can see we have our 2000s gauge, and it doesn't slip under anywhere. So we are good to go. And just look at how nice and shiny as you can see, the heads are nice and clean. I've got that rough down to just nice and smooth. And what's really nice is the heads will go down into on top of the block with the headers on. So that will make things a bit nicer. So I just still have a couple of things I need to do here. Got to sand off the top of the block deck, both sides, and the heads are all nice, polished, and just looking gorgeous. And the feeler gauge, the 2000s gauge, will not slip under the straight edge, so they are perfectly flat. Everything is looking good to go. Come back again for some more exciting updates. Yeah, the only other thing I have to do is I need to port this and this exhaust a little bit, of 1/8 of an inch on the forward half, 1/8 of an inch on the forward, and I'll call it a crescent actually. And then these two here line up perfect. So we are good to go. All right.